The year is 2013, and Jimmy Zielinski is in charge of zombies. He had been very successful in the years prior, but the community was not too fond of his most recent maps, Transit, Nuketown, and Die Rise. Then, Jason Blundell appeared. At this point, he had primarily worked on the campaigns, but he had been given the opportunity to direct his own zombies map, and he had some pretty crazy ideas for the mode. On April 16th, 2013, Jason would release his first map, Mob of the Dead, and with it came a lot of innovations. It told a very personal story with complex characters. It had an original score with new round progression music, an improved inventory system, new power mechanics, new Pack-a-Punch camo, character names on the HUD, the return of traps, afterlife, side quests, jump scares. Basically, this map was on a different level, and it was incredibly popular, which left Jimmy feeling a little threatened. So when he got to work on his next map, he brought his A-game. With Buried came a lot of new features to shake up the gameplay, something that Transit and Die Rise were lacking. Things like placeable wall guns, haunted house rounds, the piano Easter egg which was kind of like a side quest, a special yet missable wall buy, the ray gun Mark II which would later be added to all the other maps, the time bomb, the most unique piece of equipment in all of Zombies, and Arthur, who offered a lot of gameplay effects while still being his own character. But Jimmy did take some of Jason's ideas from Mob of the Dead as well. Buried would get its own original score and round progression music. He used the same character indicators on the HUD, although his would fade away after a few seconds. And while he didn't use the Mob of the Dead inventory system, he did put all of the buildable parts in one small building, and Arthur can build everything for you, which feels like an admission that Jason's system was better. And because of all of this, Buried was received far better than Transit and Die Rise. You'd think that this would have been troubling for Jason, especially because Jimmy took some of his ideas, but in reality he was happy to have had so much influence on the map. Except for one little problem. You see, even in its earliest days with World at War, there was always one thing that was consistent in every single Zombies map: the shotgun wall buy. This being either the trench gun, the stakeout, or the Remington depending on the map. They weren't the only shotguns on the walls, and sometimes weren't even the best ones available, but they all had a very specific set of characteristics. Pump action, held 6 rounds or 10 when upgraded, similar damage output and rate of fire, usually available around the halfway point of a map, and cost 1500 points. But Jason thought, hey, maybe since players don't get many points when they use a shotgun, the one on the wall shouldn't be so expensive or something, I don't know. So in Mob of the Dead, he lowered the price from 1500 points to 1200. A small change, but Jimmy hated it all the same. His belief was that the shotgun should be more expensive because of how powerful it is, and he quickly reverted it to 1500 points for Buried. Jason did not like to have his ideas rejected, and he took this very personally. So when he got to make his next map, Origins, he took a few jabs at Jimmy. First of all, he would lower the price of the Remington shotgun even further, all the way down to 900 points in co-op or 750 in solo. And he would put it in one of the first rooms from spawn, something that was rarely ever seen before. He made his own versions of Jimmy's 4 original characters and then named them Primus, which is Latin for first, and he even put fog on the map and got away with it. Things were heating up between the two, but this was the end of the Black Ops 2 lifecycle, and the community liked Jason's maps a lot more than Jimmy's, so before he even had a chance to respond, Jimmy was and Jason was put in charge of Zombies. But just because Jimmy was gone did not mean that their rivalry was over. Now mad with power, Jason used Black Ops 3 Zombies to continue attacking Jimmy. The story had his versions of the characters killing off Jimmy's in order to, quote, secure a better tomorrow. He took Eagle's Nest, which played a role in Jimmy's storyline, and turned it into a medieval castle, something that he is a notorious sucker for. The madman even took away Nikolai's wives.
Everything else has been delusional fantasy.
And the shotgun wall buy that started all of this, the one that Jimmy refused to change, well, in this game it would be the KRM and it would cost 750 points in both solo and co-op, and it would now hold 8 rounds instead of 6. Still, Black Ops 3 was extremely successful, especially when Jason remade a lot of Jimmy's old maps, which would only drive him even more insane. So he would go on to make Black Ops 4 Zombies. This ended with Jason meeting the same fate as Jimmy, also being